Item 1, we have no leave of absence approved. Item 2, confirmation of minutes, that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of Waratah Wynyard Council held at Council Chambers, 21 Saunders Street, Wynyard, on Monday the 15th of September 2025, a copy of which has been previously circulated to councillors prior to the meeting, be confirmed as a true and correct record. Could I have a mover for this motion, please? Councillor Johnson. Councillor Ramage seconded. Are there any amendments or comments that you are wishing clarification for? If not, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. Item 3, declarations of interest. Councillors, are there any declarations of interest? If you could give me the agenda item number, please. No councillors have a declaration of interest. Are there any staff with a declaration of interest this evening? No. Okay, so we will move on to item 4, council announcements and report. 4.1, announcements by the Mayor. I have got 3 announcements this evening. On behalf of Waratah Wynyard Council, I wish to congratulate Michelle Williamson, who is the winner of the very prestigious Keeser Australia Intergenerational Community Award on the 4th of October. Michelle, with passion and kindness, has created a very welcoming space where all ages and all abilities come together to grow, share and thrive. Michelle founded Forward Tasmania in 2021, and her initiative delivers more than 60 free or low-cost activities each month, covering gardening, cooking, sewing, woodworking, basket weaving and so much more. Farm It Forward fosters inclusion, resilience and connection for all of those people who participate in this amazing program. The Tulip Festival, and what a wonderful day was had by all who attended the Wynyard Tulip Festival in Guttridge Gardens, mud and all. Everyone enjoyed being able to puddle in the mud and water, as well as connecting with friends and other community members. This event turned out to be a fun and happy event, which went ahead without a hitch that I know of. Our main attractions, Josh Perry of MasterChef 2024 fame, cooked up a storm, and Hannah Maloney returned again this year to engage the community in her fantastic sustainable living and practical gardening sessions. On behalf of the Council, I thank all staff and volunteers who made this an absolutely outstanding day, despite the weather, and after a rest, we are now getting on with planning the Tulip Festival 2026. Also, on behalf of the Council, I extend sincere thanks to Craig Richardson, who has as a phenomenal champion of the Tulip Festival this year, with his story in the Mercury newspaper and front page of The Advocate. Craig is the champion of Waratah Wynyard Council and has been volunteering significantly over the past 20 years, contributing thousands and thousands of hours over that time. Whatever Waratah Wynyard Council is doing for the community, Craig is always there as a willing hand. Again, I sincerely thank you, Craig. We could not do it without you. There is a recommendation before you, Councillors, 4.2, that Council's notes my communications. Could I have a mover? Councillor Roberts, could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Hyland. Are there any questions, comments about the diary that you have before you? If not, I put that motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. Reports by delegates, which is item 4.3. I've not received any. Item 4.4, notification of councillor workshops. There is a list of workshops that have been on for the past month. Could I have a mover, please, for Deputy Mayor Edwards? Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Raw. Any comments, queries, questions around this particular recommendation? If not, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. Item 5. Public questions and statements. Responses to public questions taken on notice from the previous meeting. None have been received. Public questions received in writing. Mr. Bulsher, Wynyard Landcare, Aldina. There is a question that has been put to the council and the officer's response is included. Item 5.3, questions without notice, public statements. I'll read to all of you that with any of the public questions or statements, the council encourages community participation in its meetings through the opportunity for public questions and statements. Consistent with council's core values, councillors and staff strive to ensure all people are treated with respect and integrity. We expect our residents and ratepayers to apply similar standards in their dealings with councillors. As Mayor, it is my responsibility to maintain the orderly conduct of council meetings and to determine whether a question or statement is out of order due to the use of offensive, objectionable or defamatory expressions. And I remind everyone that council's new council meeting procedures were adopted in March 2024. In particular, it should be noted that a maximum of 3 questions may be asked per person. Any parts to questions are considered questions. All questions to be asked before a response is provided. There is a time limit of 3 minutes per person to ask questions. Once a question is answered, there is to be no debate on that question. Public statements are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per person. There is to be no questions or discussion related to a statement. So I ask members of the public to show proper consideration and courtesy in their comments. Now, I'm wondering if we do have one member in the gallery. Do you have a statement or question to ask? No, thank you. So anyway, you all understand our rules. Thank you so much for that. Item 6, we're moving into the Planning Authority, opening at 6:07. So I remind councillors, you're not acting as councillors, you're acting as a planning authority. 6.1, public questions without notice. We have not received any. Public statements relating to planning matters. We have not received any. Item 6.3, visitor accommodation expansion and associated parking and works located at 280A Pages Road, Calder. Development application 992025. There is a recommendation before you, councillors. Could I have a mover for this motion, please?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Councillor Hyland moved. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Roberts. Councillor Hyland, do you wish to open a debate on this particular motion, please?
Yeah, it's certainly an extremely well put together application. And when you read through over 170 or 100 and whatever there were pages, and the fact they've had Pit and Sherry involved at all stages, and obviously that's the reason being the Inglis River is in a big part of that park. And I don't know whether too many councillors have been down the Derwent River of late, down that way. Wherever there's a river or a estuary or whatever down there, there's a caravan park about every 5 or 10 k's there. They seem to be popping up. It's very popular. And I think that's why I think in the next few years we're going to have an explosion of caravanners in our area. And you can see what's already around this area, what we're getting at the showground. And once they find a place like this, just a little bit quieter out in the country, that's where they'll be. And look, once again, just certainly congratulations to the proponent. They've done an excellent job. And just that they make sure they keep that river nice and clean and look after my lobsters. That's all I ask.
Thank you, Councillor Hyland. Are there any speakers against this motion, please? Further speakers?
I want to state this, I state this every time. I truly believe that the planning authority items are the hardest things that we have to deal with as councillors. Namely because we want to see this community grow, all our region. That's what I mean by our communities, our whole region. And no matter which town it is, we want to see people with roofs over their heads. We want to create economy, we want to create jobs. and following on from what Councillor Hylands said, is the application for this is absolutely tremendous. And also I must credit the representatives for the representations they've put in, which are also very well explained and comprehensive. The last thing we want to do as a community is upset anyone or not understand anyone in the way they present these things. And truthfully, as the planning authority, we look at the laws and we look at the legislation and we listen to our staff as they navigate us through that due to the complexities of the legislation. And I will admit that I will quite often go with the recommendation of our staff due to the fact that they are very qualified in these areas and very knowledgeable. And so my one wish and one thing I want to say is I credit the representations that people have sent in, and we do understand the difficulties, and all we can ask is that people work together to, as we've encouraged other people that have come here in representation, to work together to come to some kind of happy medium. As is the recommendation of council, I'm very happy to support this, but I do understand the difficulties of those that send in the representations. I have read them, and it's just never going to be easy with planning. It's the least enjoyable part of this to me. I enjoy every single aspect of council, but the planning authority's items are probably the most difficult for me, because I want to see everyone do well. I want to see everyone build their dream home. I want to see people create business, and I want to see them create economy, and I want us to do it in a way that really pleases everyone. But unfortunately, that's very difficult, and I feel like our staff and our council does the best we can to try and deliver the happy medium for everyone. So credit to the application. It was incredibly comprehensive, and best of luck to everyone, really, truly. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Deputy Mayor Edwards.
Yeah, I just want to say this is quite a unique application. I think it's very good for our area. There's, as it said in the response, there's nothing in this area for that. So I think it's hitting something on the head that is unique to this area. It's serene, it's in a beautiful environment, and it's going to attract people who just love staying just outside the boundaries and just enjoying nature, but then enjoying coming into town when they need to. So yeah, reading it all, it was like a novel, trying to piece it all together and get the understanding of it all, and from the representations and the applicant in what they're trying to do. So the planner's done really well to sift through it all and come up with being able to pass it if it goes through.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Edwards. Are there any further speakers? Councillor Bramage.
Yeah, look, I'm going to support the motion, and I say well done. It's not that long ago we approved one up at Larry's Road in a similar situation, and as Councillor Holland said, they're popping up everywhere. A pretty good report put together. I know the applicant's plan is that bloke by the name of John Ayres. Well, John Ayres used to work for this council many years ago, and so it'd be a good report what's in here for sure. But I say well done. There's been a lot of there's been a lot of objections or submissions, but I think they've all been addressed, and we can't keep everybody happy all the time. So well done.
Thank you, Councillor Bramage. Are there any further speakers, please, to this motion? If not, I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. That brings to a close our Planning Authority section at 6:15. Item 7, matters raised by councillors. 7.1, responses to questions nil received. 7.2, councillor questions received in writing, none have been received. 7.3, councillor questions without notice. Are there any, Councillor Courtney?
Just a quick one. Wondering if we can bring community assistance grants to a workshop. We, in the past, we've always had 2 rounds, and we've sometimes struggled to get applicants. This current round, we're so oversubscribed that we've got all of the money in this one round that should be for two. Sitting on that committee, it makes it really hard because if people meet the criteria and there's no reason to knock them back, then how do we decide? There's no way for us to cull them if everybody meets the criteria. So if tonight we pass a motion that we give all the grants that are eligible, which is what we've got on the agenda, there is no grant round 2 for other people that might have been waiting on another grant round. So I don't know whether we need to consider looking at putting it as a single grant round that comes out in the timing of this one, where it comes out around the Tulip Festival before Christmas and we make it one grant round, or whether we need to look at increasing the amount because we've got such a good amount of participation from our community groups, but we don't have enough to give everybody that's eligible the grant money. So how do we decide? So I think that if we're all going to be up for election next October, that the next councillors are going to need guidance if we get this kind of subscription to our community assistance grants. It's exciting. It's great that our clubs are doing this and getting involved and getting that money, because it helps everybody in the community in those clubs. But because of the amount of people that are subscribing, we're a victim of our own progression in this area. We've got that many people applying that I think that we now need to bring it back to another workshop to say, okay, if everybody's eligible, how do we do this moving forward for the next round of councillors?
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. You do raise a valid point. Okay, so we will note that question of yours. Thank you.
Workshop.
I can
Yes, you
provide
can.
an answer, is that we will take it to a workshop.
Thank you. Question answered. Yes, Councillor Ramage, your question.
I've got a question regarding workshops. Are we getting behind in the items that's listed for workshops, or are we on track?
Through you, Mayor, I'd say we're pretty much on track.
Would we?
Yes.
Right. So this item will come before Christmas, it would come, or?
Right. We schedule things in as soon as we can.
Yep.
I don't have the schedule in my head, but it's possible we could have that one before Christmas.
Right, I just wondered whether so often we get behind.
No, we're pretty much on track with what we want to bring to workshops at the moment.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Ramage.
I've got one question
Yes,
as well.
okay.
Just following up literally from Councillor Courtney and Councillor Ramage, all right? So just firstly, just as a part of this question, I just want to state what Councillor Courtney said is true, that when the first round that I did as a councillor in my term, there was actually not enough applicants for the community grants.
Could you
so we'll get
move
to-
your question first
Yep,
and
okay.
then we'll have your
All right.
rationale?
So what I want to say is, with the growth in this area over the last several years, would it be remiss if we didn't invite some of the recipients of the community grants to our workshops to explain to us what the grants have been used for and present to us what we are funding? Because quite often we approve them, we see it in the ledger, we know it's been done, and we say that's great. Now, to see some of the results that we've achieved from this funding would be tremendous, to invite some of these groups to the actual workshops to explain how they've used that money and how that's benefited their groups. I find that should we go to the next round, then it gives us great insight into what exactly this is contributing towards. And that way it's equitable, that everyone gets an opportunity, really. So we typically hand out 10 around. So over the course of a year, 52 weeks, and so probably 40 weeks there for workshops, that potentially we could bring the recipients in over the course of a year and just listen to what they've done and achieved and what some of their newer objectives would be. And if we actually wrote that down as councillors, then we would know what the actual objectives of those groups are. I think that the work that's done in the community space in this council is second to none. Very innovative. I think our community department does a great job, but I also feel like all our management team do a great job supporting community as well. So I'd love to, as a councillor, see some of the results of this funding we've handed out during the course, So as just in community grants around our last year of our terms next year, $80,000 we've handed out to community groups, and just through the grants alone. So I'd love to see some of the results of that, and great opportunity to get the community groups into the council chambers and actually talk to us in a private setting and really express themselves to us.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Roberts. So your question is, can we invite the recipients to workshop? So,
Explain to us, yes.
okay, thank you for that. Are there any further questions? Councillor,
I have a couple.
hang on.
Sorry, just to give a response to the question.
Yes.
I think that's something we could certainly.
Yeah, through you, there's about 20 or 30 in there, but councillors either could suggest some, or we could look at those that would like to brief the council both on the grant outcome and their services more generally.
So that's the objectives really, and we have more of a concept about what they're up to.
Yeah, understood. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Johnson.
Couple. Can we get State Growth to look or do an exploratory or a maintenance check on the wall at Doctors Rocks Highway? Me being a driver of that road every day, I've noticed fairly large rocks coming off the face of the cutaway now. I think it's an issue. Only has to take one rock to go through something, and we could cause a major damage. So if I could leave that with you guys to check up on that, please. That's a pretty serious one.
We'll take that one on notice.
Yes, thank you. And another one's probably just as serious. How do we strengthen the rules and awareness of the community of our own little dog park out here to get people to pick up their own dog poop? I tell you, it's driving us. Councillor Bramage and myself have been questioned and asked, and even to the date that the community lawnmower, the show groundsman there, that nearly to the stage of refusal of mowing that part. So it's going to be a sad day when they're going to close the gate and say, sorry, no more dog park. So we've got to get it out there that we need a big awareness program out there, or they're going to lose their park. So,
For that, Councillor Johnson, it's an issue just about all over the municipality, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but the park, yes, you're quite right. Are there any further questions, please? Councillor Hyland.
Yes, a couple. We'll go back one. I don't think I've had or anybody's had a response in regard to the ugly driveway that we've got in Jackson Street opposite the showground. Is that through you, Madam Chair, to the engineer? Is that?
Yeah, through you, Mayor, I can take that on notice and see what we're up to on that one.
What sort of made it a bit worse, council's been down on that short street and done 2 crossovers. And if you have a look at the job the council boys have done and then compare that, it's just a disgrace to have that alongside that job.
Thank you for that
And it's
question.
not something that we tend to allow people to do their own driveways. It's sort of been a done thing.
It'll be taken on notice. So your second question?
Permits on new building sites. I think it's a standard that they have to seal their driveways. Is that correct?
Through you, Mayor, that's almost in all cases the requirement. Yep.
Yep. Just one in, as a matter of interest, the petrol stop up Calder Road, about 3/4 of the way up on the right-hand side. There's a humongous gravel area where, I don't know, 20 trucks, 25 trucks a day, in and out there getting fuel. Now the council workers have swept the gravel off the road on a couple of occasions. They've even replaced some gravel on that side. So I'm just wondering why that guy hasn't been made seal the block to stop all that stuff.
Thank you, Councillor Hyland.
Take
And
that
I
on
think there's
notice.
a lot of others in country roads that have just sort of gradually been able, look, you can't keep up with everything, I suppose.
So I think that we'll take that one on notice.
Yep.
It needs to be investigated, and we
Yep,
need to
with
get the best response that we can for you.
Now, if I may, the one that's getting a little bit of airtime on our iPad and that in regard to the signs, for the community signs and the poles in the main street. As I recall, that meeting was probably 5-6 months ago, just when the CEO took up her post here. Now, we had a in-depth discussion. It was regard to the poles, either they come down or whatever because of the cost of putting the banners up. Then there was the Christmas decorations that were all going to go in a group on the little island this side of FM radio. And the, what do you call it? You guys put it in the mix, the screen.
Oh, the notice board, the community
Notice board, that was put in the mix. Now, as my understanding, and that's a fair while ago, but the staff were to go away and investigate quite a few issues around that and to come back to us. Now we've got a meeting planned for the 8th of December. I really hope that we're not going to get sort of told what's happening with all the Christmas
Your
decorations.
question is,
Yeah.
what is happening? Is that what you're
Yep,
talking
what is happening? We've obviously got a workshop now,
Yeah.
but it's only just come to light in the last few days. But there was a lot involved in that. A lot of people weren't comfortable with either taking the poles down and there was no real decision, I didn't think, made in regard to whether we stopped putting the signs up or not putting them down, or not putting them up.
Thank you for that. All right. Councillor Bramage, were you wanting to ask one more question?
Another question if I can.
Now ask your question and then tell me what it's about.
Well, I'm going to probably tell you what it's about as the question goes. It's about dog poo, people out there listening. Can council somehow, on their website or their social media, get onto some of these people about not picking their dog poo up? Showground is a place. Don't be surprised if we lose it as a dogs park. And can council help the show society in any way in cleaning up and mowing that section? I don't know. The show, I understand the show committee's prepared to mow the whole ground on that, but I don't blame them for not wanting to mow all this dog poo. I don't know.
Okay, we'll take that one on notice as
But I
well.
will say this, some people call themselves dog lovers, but you're not. I just had to get that in there.
Or maybe they love them too much. Okay, thank you, Councillor Bramage. Are there any further questions? If not, after that marathon event of questions, we'll move on to item 9, which is reports of officers and committees. Ballard Avenue Environment Reserve Master Plan adoption. The recommendation before you, councillors, is that council adopts the Ballard Avenue Environment Reserve Master Plan and the action plan contained within. Councillor Roberts has moved. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Courtney. Councillor Roberts, do you wish to open any debate on this, or?
No debate about it. We've seen this plan and we've seen the work that's gone into this plan and the results of this plan, and I just again, as always, want to credit the work of the staff at this council for the incredible work that they do. Again, this is actually indicative of our council trying to meet the needs of our community and what they've asked for, and genuinely, I'd like to see a place that's dedicated natural spaces for the members of the community to walk or enjoy, and to know we're in a community that the future generations will actually get to enjoy nature because of the work that we do in regards to the environment, and the work we do to protect certain spaces is actually incredible. To be honest, all credit in the world to the staff, all credit in the world to the members of the public for this one. It goes to show that this is a council that's driven by the voice of the public, and our staff have delivered an amazing job, and the concept drawings and everything of this are actually incredible as well. So I want to credit the work that, everyone has done. And just, yeah, all due respect to everyone there. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers? Deputy Mayor Edwards.
Yeah, it's been great working with this, the Ballard Avenue and everything that's come about in this. And it's been wonderful to work alongside the SEEP team, the SEEP group, and what they have brought into Ballard Avenue with their experience and knowledge and everything. So, and altogether it's just interwoven all together and come up with a great master plan for adoption. So.
Thank you for that. Are there any further speakers to this motion? Councillor Courtney.
Yeah, I just want to say that we've done the right thing here. We put this out to look at it for development and a dog park, and we heard from the community, we heard from our environmental defenders and looked at the true value of that area under flora and fauna and made the right decision. And I think that this is about us meeting a nice balance. So it's not always about development of land. It's about the value of the land, and I think we've made the right decision in this one. There's lots of studies that show we're in a mental health crisis. There's lots of studies that show walking in the woods is good for mental health. So I think this is about livability for this area. And we've made the right decision in not going with a residential or a dog park in that area and preserving the land value so that this can be used by residents and there's no cost to it and it's good for them. So I think this was a good decision by the council, and yeah, thank you very much for all the effort that got put in.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney, for your positive comments. Are there any further comments from anyone? So the motion is that Council adopts the Ballard Avenue Environment Reserve Master Plan and the action plan contained within. I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.2, Cam River Reserve Master Plan, the final report. The recommendation is that Council notes the final report and completion of the Cam River Reserve Master Plan. We have lots of lovely photographs of the development of this area. Could I have a mover for this motion, please? Councillor Roberts. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Hyland. Councillor Roberts, do you wish to comment, open the debate?
Just a really quick one. Between the Cam River Reserve Master Plan and obviously the Reserve Master Plan for Ballard Avenue, we've got the Fossil Bluff and Surrounding Trails Plan as well. The completion of the Anzac Park playground over that way, I think the walkway underneath, state government's bridge, I think it's all coming together at once for our communities, and I just think the work in this space has actually been innovative and leading, and I love the fact that our council never has to be pushed into these things. I think it shows that it's really forward thinking and strategic in the way these things are delivered. And as a person that's worked in community development for most of my life, it's amazing how the assets will be all set for renewal really at the same time, and that all these assets have a long lifespan, and it's really refreshed and reinvigorated and basically given our community a facelift. And the amount of comments I've heard about crossing the Cam River into Waratah Wynyard and the fact that we've got the reserve on the left and the park on the right, and probably the stark contrast of like the commercialisation on the other side of the bridge is actually incredible, and it shows what our community is all about more than any sign ever could. So I just want to credit all the staff, all the people. I even want to credit state government for getting that bridge built, and I want to credit everyone involved because we live in such a naturally beautiful area, and that space at Cam is just an incredible place. And the restoration of the river over the years, and now the restoration, the sculptures, just everything. I just cannot credit this council enough for the work they've done in this space. So thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it a lot.
So are there any further comments about this particular master plan, the final report? Councillor Hyland.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Yeah, it's certainly been a good project, and particularly the underpass under the new bridge. Everyone knows what a disaster it was before. Couldn't get under it. It's a wonder somebody didn't lose a life. Yeah, and all the new artwork on that side, on the bank. People were up in arms a little bit about losing their old boat, but they certainly got replaced with some good stuff. The only thing now that I think we need to push for, if we haven't got a project in Somerset, is try and get that pathway linked to Backcam Road.
Okay,
Part the way there, part the way done. So
Thank you, Councillor Hyland. Are there any further comments about this final report, please? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.3, Sisters Beach Foreshore Management Plan. There is a recommendation before you, councillors, that council notes the Sisters Beach Foreshore Management Plan and the action plan contained within, developed by Tasmania Parks and Wildlife Service in partnership with council. Number 2, establishes a Sisters Beach Foreshore Management Working Group to assist in preparing an implementation plan for council-led actions in the Foreshore Management Plan. And item 3, authorises officers to invite community representatives to participate in the working group. Could I have a mover for that motion? Councillor Courtney has moved. Could I have a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Edwards. Councillor Courtney, would you like to discuss or...
Oh, look, I think it's great that we've actually got the report from Parks and Wildlife on what their plan is and that they're working with council. I think it's very often that state government and local government operate in silos, so it's good when our government, our council does what it does best and says, okay, let's get all the stakeholders on board, and we got that plan off Department of Parks and Wildlife, so thank you very much to the managers that kept chasing that up. Appreciate that, and I think that this shows the commitment we have to work with the local community as well as the state government, because we're having a local group down there, and I don't know of many groups that are that engaged with the management of their foreshore as what Sisters Beach are. They're a very engaged community down there, and I think it's great that we're working with Department of Parks and Wildlife in conjunction with that community group. So it's another one of those things that I think that our council leads the way in that area. So good job on this one in working with state government to get a good outcome and a plan that we've both collaborated on.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Any Deputy Mayor Edwards?
Yeah, I'm just really thankful that we now have this assessment audit done, and that now we can go forward with a management plan of the foreshore. I put in a motion back in 2018, and it's taken 7 years to get this assessment done, but we have it, and it's valuable for the homeowners and to work with council and parks to be able to future-proof their home as best as it can with what's inside the report or the management plan for it. So, yeah, well done, and I look forward to hearing more on the working groups and council and parks working together.
Thank you for that, Deputy Mayor Edwards. It is said that the wheels of God grind slowly, but council's wheels grind even slower. Never mind. Are there any further speakers to this motion? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.4, the Waste Action Plan and Service Level Document for adoption. The recommendation before you, councillors, is that council notes the status update and completion of the Waste and Resource Recovery Strategy 2019 to 2024, adopts the Waste Action Plan 2025 to 2028 and endorses the action plan contained within, and adopts the Waste Service Level Document 2025. Could I have a mover for that motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Courtney moved. Could I have seconded? Councillor Roberts. Councillor Courtney, do you wish to speak to this motion?
I think this is one of those areas that council hates operating in, because everybody just gets crabby that we've got to charge them to get rid of their waste. But I think it's one that we actually are doing well in, because we are looking at alternatives to just chucking everything in landfill. So this council looks at everything it can do to divert, which is your FOGO, your recycling. So well done to the staff that are so progressive in this area and mindful of the fact that we can't just chuck everything in a giant hole in the ground.
Thank you for that, Councillor Courtney. Any further speakers to this motion?
Just following on from what Councillor Courtney said, I think this year is actually probably the most we've ever talked about waste in local government, and not just this council, but all 9 councils along the coast. You know, in regards to a lot of the changes with FOGO and such, there are reasons why we've explained, and we've sent out flyers and we've put it on our website, and we've sent all these notices. Like, this is a space that's incredibly important. People really don't probably understand the value of it until the waste piling up in the street. And It's a breach of our environmental health. So there we go. So we must do these things legally. This stuff is handed down to us by state government, and we just try and do the best we can to alleviate the cost from the ratepayer. It'd be nice that the new plan's in and we can point to something and say, hey, if you just want to know about that, you'll find that on the council website. So great work to everyone involved, and let us continue to grow in this space. Cheers.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Councillor Rule.
Yeah, I'd just like to ask a clarifying question of Mr Summers. Just in the plan, Action 17, it says achieve a full cost recovery model no later than 27-28. So it's not in the general rate. So what sorts of things would you envisage need to be done there, and how difficult is that to achieve that one?
Yeah, thanks for you, Mayor. We don't necessarily see it as difficult, but we do see it as potentially twofold. Councillor Courtney mentioned before the notion of taking waste out of the landfill pathway, if you like. That's one measure to reduce that, but the other is through the service rate mechanism, which our Director of Financial Services has modelled a cost recovery within 3 years. So any of those interventions to remove waste might make that faster or easier, or perhaps even less costly to do so.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Are there any further questions or comments about this? I think that our 2019-2024 strategy targets, the table there does give us a very good full insight on our progress to date. So we do thank the staff for that. If there are no further comments or questions, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.5, the Fagan Hall, Waratah. The recommendation is...
I'll ask a couple of questions before we get a motion.
No. We need to get the motion open for
Yes.
debate.
Okay, I'll move.
Right, you do whatever you're doing there.
Well, if you want to move an amendment through you, Mayor, we have to open the motion for debate first before you can move an amendment. So we need a mover and a seconder.
Okay, right. Yep.
I believe Councillor Bramage
Excuse
is
me,
moving.
can we just...
I'm not going to move to support it
You
at
can't.
this stage.
You're not supporting it, you're moving it to debate.
I'll move it to debate.
Can I just do as the CEO has recommended that we have a mover and a seconder for this motion, then we will move on to whatever the rest of you are wishing to do.
Sorry, through you, Mayor, if Councillor Bramage wishes to move an amendment, he can't be the mover.
No, okay.
To help Gary.
Excuse me, thank you.
We just need a mover and a seconder.
Councillor Roberts has moved. Could I have a seconded? Who's the seconder? Councillor Courtney. Thank you. Councillor Courtney, you wish to open? Sorry, Robert, you wish to...
I've just moved this motion.
Don't look alike, but please.
I've just moved this motion because I would like to support my fellow councillor in his amendment of the motion, or to put it up for debate.
Excuse me, no talking across the room. Could I have Councillor Roberts finish what he is saying?
I would like to hear what Councillor Bramage has to say, which is why I've moved the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Now can we
Just go to Councillor Bramage.
Councillor Bramage.
So I can ask a couple of questions then. Thank you. I guess, has the men's shed been contacted and consulted with regarding this?
Through you, Mayor, I had a meeting with the men's shed several months ago now, and advised them that we would discuss with councillors in a workshop whether they wanted to explore an expression of interest process. And I said to them that if council took a decision, which is before you now, that we would ensure that they were aware that an expression of interest process was open. So it depends on this decision tonight. We will then let them know.
Right. I guess the next question is, has the Waratah Chopping organisation or association or whatever you want to call it been notified of this might change and impact their movement to the ground and will impact their market day in the community, in the centre, in their Devonshire teas and all that sort of thing? Have they been consulted?
Through you, Mayor.
Yes.
Nobody's been consulted yet because you haven't taken a decision to open up an expression of interest process. And
I would,
sorry, go on. Yeah.
can I move an alternative motion now? I'd like to move that this item lay on the table until we get more information on where the men's shed would go.
You want to defer?
Yes. Because I believe the community's got to be consulted before we make any decisions. That's how I would see it.
Right. Through you, Mayor, an expression of interest process is merely council saying, hello, is anybody interested in taking on this building? Council is not obliged to accept any expressions of interest that may come in as a result. The men's shed themselves may put in an expression of interest. So all you're doing is testing the waters to see what might come back.
Well, yeah, look, I hear what you're saying, I don't agree with what you're saying. I would have thought, we're a consultative council, I would have thought some of the community back there need to know what we're thinking. But
Want to ask a question?
Go right ahead, councillor Hyland.
Yeah, and I'm hearing what you just said, Madam CEO. The 3 dot points there, the thing that concerns me is, well, the first dot point in those 3 there, to continue existing community use of this facility. And my concern is if someone came in with an offer of $200,000, whether council would lean towards just taking that and offloading it. And like Gary, there's a few clubs connected to this. Like, it's not just the men's shed sitting in there, and they would have to be found a home. But the Axman's thing, they rely heavily on that building for their big day, and they're starting to put some dollars in the bank, big dollars, by the way they're operating now. And I'd hate to think that they're going to sort of think that they might not have the other half of the thing. And I'm a bit like Gary, and I do think that, consultation or an email and said, hey, this is coming up. And dare I probably suggest well, the fact is, the history of this building, there would be people that living in Waratah today, their families would have committed money to this Elmer Fagan Hall. It's more of a community project than a lot of people are led to believe. The mines put money into it, and I'd suggest the Waratah Council would have made a contribution. So, yep.
I'll stop you there for a moment because we need a seconder to this alternate
sorry.
motion.
I'll second it just to hear the debate. Can I do that? Is that
Through you, Mayor, I think as Councillor Roberts moved the original motion, we need somebody else.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Thank you.
What's the alternate motion?
It is to defer the motion until we consult with the community groups such as Men's Shed and the Waratah Shopping Group. Is that right, Councillor Bramich?
yeah, can I speak to the motion or?
So we're voting on deferring it?
No, first of all, you have to vote on whether to make the amendment the motion before you can speak on it.
Okay. So are you clear on what that amendment is? Okay.
You need to put that to the vote.
I will. I need to put that to the vote, and I think we might need a division. I'm not sure, but all those in favour of this alternate motion, please raise your hands. Right. Deputy Mayor Edwards, Councillor Bramich, Councillor Raw, Councillor Johnson, Councillor Hyland, Deputy Mayor Roberts against, Councillor Courtney and myself. The motion is passed.
So that's now the motion for debate. So now,
Okay, this is
Councillor
now
Bramich
the
can
motion for debate. Councillor Bramich, would you like to open the debate?
Thank you. Yep. Look, sorry to muck the program up, but I've got a lot of respect for the men's shed, irrespective of where it is, Wynyard, Burnie, Waratah, and I've also got a lot of respect for the wood chopping. If the wood chopping didn't have that hole or have markets in it, I don't think we'd have a wood chopping back there. I would think Waratah is one of the biggest wood chopping events in the state. That's my concern. Until I know what they think, I won't support it. But as soon as I know what they think, well, fine, I would support it. But until then, we're a council that we probably go to the community, and I don't think we've probably done the people in Waratah justice at this stage. I know we don't have to, but we all know Waratah's Waratah. And as Councillor Holland said, I think the hall was built by mining companies many, many years ago and probably handed the council over down the track. No doubt the Waratah Council put some into it. But I can understand if it's not going to get used, we need to get rid of it. But let's see if it's going to get used first and where these other people are going to go. That's my only concern, of where that.
Thank you, Councillor Bramich. Are there any speakers against this motion? Councillor Courtney.
I don't think we should defer it, because all we're doing is putting it out to see if they're interested. So it doesn't preclude them from saying, yeah, we'd like to talk to you about it, because that's all it is. It's only an expression of interest, like who's interested in it. So I don't think we need to put it off and then go and contact all the separate groups. If we just say, look, expression of interest, who's interested, they'll come to us if they are. So I don't think we need to defer it. I think we can just put it out. But anyway, that's my.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Councillor Roberts.
Just as Councillor Bramich just stated, the work that so many of these groups do down there, the men's shed, the committee for the wood chopping carnival, I know Chris and Sue Hawkins particularly, when that come back around, did a lot of work down in that space. And I actually see what council's doing here, and I see that it's good. I think it's due diligence to understand what market is out there, what appetite is out there, and not financially, just in terms of the interests surrounding the hall and which groups. I think our CEO is absolutely correct that the groups in there might be the ones that wish to take on Elmer Fagan Hall. And I also see with the construction of the surf club, which will be transferred into ownership of the surf club, that this is actually a part of our overarching strategy as a council with our assets, and our asset utilisation is to ensure that the right assets are with the right groups, and that those groups have therefore responsibility of those assets, so that other ratepayers that are outside of that interest don't end up funding a bunch of things that they have no interest in. So I think what our council's done is tremendous. In regards to this, I do also agree with you, Councillor Bramich. The groups in there have got such a strong ownership, and the Waratah community obviously has such a strong ownership over their own community being so isolated. And I think that our due diligence in talking to them would be quite helpful. And I'd also probably just suggest, like I've said before, that maybe the men's shed from Waratah, Greg and Mr. T and all them guys that happily come up to a workshop for us and actually maybe do a presentation to us about the things they do in Elmer Fagan Hall and which stakeholders are in it, therefore to give us a lot more context around what exactly this decision will be. So.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Councillor Raw.
Can I just ask a clarification question? And I know it's in the original motion, but it informs how I feel about a part of how I feel about this. And it's the dot point to safeguard the future of the facility as a valued community asset. So from past experience in selling things, when you put something in the sale that is one of the requirements, how rigorous is that? Do people stick to it, or is there a past where people might stick to it for a certain period of time and then move away from it and say, look, it's my building, I'll do what I like? Is there any, history in that sort of thing? Yeah.
Yeah, through you, Mayor, there's a couple of things I'll say. I may not have made myself clear when I answered Councillor Bramage before, in that the communication to the men's shed was around the prospect of them submitting an EOI, not just this was happening and it might be sold out from under you. That wasn't the communication. And secondly, we would write in the sale contract the conditions to guarantee in perpetuity use for the community.
Yeah, and that's sort of like set in concrete.
Okay, are there any Deputy Mayor Edwards?
Yeah, I'll just bring it back. We did discuss this in a workshop and I think it was discussed, there was a lot of questions and that going around. And everybody was kind of like in a bit of agreement. I wasn't. And I was with the first motion that was put up, I wasn't going to go with it because I understand what council are trying to do for parts, but I don't agree on such a large land having, you know, some expression of interest. Waratah's a little hidden gem, and yeah, I know Waratah will take off in the future, but as I was reading this, it says expression of interest, and we don't have to accept it if we don't want to. So even in that procedural motion, it says the men's shed, but I think we probably need to have in there like workshop as well, because obviously, you know, we're asking questions now when we probably should have asked those questions in the workshop as well, and then we don't have this confusion as we're trying to talk around the table. So I'll be going against the procedural motion. So
thank you, Deputy Mayor Edwards. Are there any further speakers, please?
I can't add much more.
Okay, no further speakers.
Yes.
Yes, you may sum up.
Thank you. Look, I realise we're brought to a workshop, and this is just as much my fault as anyone's. Might throw a spanner in the works here, but so I'm only speaking how I feel. I feel like some of your workshop, the items are rushed through, but that's my feeling. I still would have thought that the men's shed might have been contacted, well, it was several months ago, but I'm sure there's other things happen there, like the wood chopping carnival. If that ground goes, or that shed, I don't know what the wood choppers are really going to do. I would have thought we'd talk to them and see what their feeling was. Maybe between the two groups, we might let them have it at a reasonable whatever. Some 20 years ago, we gave the Mile football ground to a group out there for maybe $1, if that. We have helped them a little bit on the way. And they've got a caravan park out there now. And it's quite booming. There's no reason why this can't happen in Waratah. So that's why I would like to see it deferred until we have another workshop on it, and some of these people are consulted, and get some of the woodchopper people here that see what they reckon, or if we don't want to do that, well, let's just write to them then. Let's just write to them.
Thank you for summing up for us, Councillor Bramage. I'm now going to call a division on this particular motion, is that we defer this motion, calling for expressions of interest. So, those in favour of deferring this particular motion, please raise your hands. Councillor Bramage, Councillor Johnson, Councillor Hyland, Councillor Raw and Councillor Roberts. Against, Deputy Mayor Edwards, Councillor Courtney and myself, this motion has passed. Thank you. We're moving moving on to item 9.6, which is community activation grants, round 1. The recommendation before you, councillors, is that council allocates funding to the following organisations under round 1 of its 2025-26 community activation grants program. Could I have a mover for this motion? Councillor Courtney.
Seconded.
Councillor Roberts, seconded. Councillor Courtney, would you like to speak to this motion, please?
I think I've spoken enough on the community assistance grant tonight. I'm glad that we're bringing it back to a workshop because, as you can see, with the allocation of grants tonight, if all the councillors agree that these are all worthy and this is what we should award, there's no round 2. So as long as everybody's comfortable with that, there was no way to exclude any of the applications. They were all eligible and they're all meritorious. So I think the fact that we've raised tonight that it needs to come to a workshop will help address this happening in the future. But if everybody's happy to support those applications, then it's one and done. No next round.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any further speakers to this motion? Councillor Roberts.
I just would encourage people in the community to look at who's received this funding, and it's as diverse as the amazing work that Business Northwest does for our community with our business owners, to the Carol's performance for Wynyard New Life Church and Somerset Football Club, the kitchen floor in Viola. The amount of great work these grants do for our community and the groups is incredible. The groups in our community, the community groups are the fabric of our community. The sports groups, the events, the churches, the historical society's got a new printer and a new scanner. So it shows the diverse way that this council uses ratepayer money to actually push on and propel this community, whether you're the biggest group or the smallest group. And just all credit to the Community Activation Department, the Community Department, Mr. Cattermole, Bronwyn and Lucy and Steph and just everyone involved, because the scope and breadth of actually delivering these things, and it's not as simple as an application. Our staff have helped most of these groups apply for these and navigate the process, and so I just want to genuinely give credit to our staff and the community groups for delivering all these programs, and long may it continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers? Councillor Hyland.
Yeah, look, I did have it on my list, and I'm happy to discuss it in the way that Councillor Courtney put it. That maybe something will change, but I just sort of wondered but it's only the second time I think we've been in this situation. I think last time round they reduced a bit of money off some and evened it out, and I think 1,500 they got each, whatever. But and I think at the end of the day it'll be a decision of the council. But the council we never looked at this figure, I don't think, since we put it in place, and maybe it's time that the council added another 25 grand on each, so that we've still got 2 areas. If there'd have been a little bit more time, perhaps the question could have been asked whether we can still do that and still run the second one at a smaller rate. That was the only thing that I sort of thought of, but happy to get to the workshop and sort it there.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Hyland. Are there any further speakers?
Yeah.
Councillor Johnson.
I know it's a tricky one because there's 22 applicants there that are successful. Whether you go, say, in the next financial year, you cap it at, you do have 1 or 2 rounds, but do you cap it at 10 per round, and then we just work on the dollars from there? Because, as I say, it's free money for those who want to put their hand up for it. So we might have to look into something like that.
May not see it again.
May not see it again. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. And I will say, having been on the panel that has looked at these applications, and I was on the panel for many years, it is a very onerous job.
Yeah.
It's a hard job going through all of those applications, ensuring they meet all the criteria, and it's a phenomenal number this year, so congratulations to those that actually undertook that task. I think they've done a great job. Okay, if there are no further speakers, I will put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.7, the future of local government reforms to councillor numbers and allowances. The recommendation is that council endorses the draft submission in response to the discussion paper on the review of councillor numbers and allowances. Could I have a mover for this motion? Councillor Roberts, could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Courtney, Councillor Roberts, do you wish to open the debate?
Not really at all. We've had this discussion at workshop about the allowances and such, and you know, some of the stuff, some of the changes seem a little bit preposterous at times, or minute, or big one way or the other, or whatnot. And let's be honest, at the end of the day, we'll also be victims of the state government. So, yeah, no, look, I'm just happy for the council to put in the submission, and we'll do what we reckon. Thank you.
Are there any further speakers to this motion? Councillor Courtney.
I'd like to thank the staff, obviously, for the submission we've put in. I think that the concerns we raised, that there'd be no benefit for our ratepayers, was a good response from our council. I did hear in the conversations, I was very interested to find that a lot of the concerns being raised were over the councils that were going to have 5 councillors and getting quorum at those meetings. So I think it's good that we're moving into legislation that will allow remote attendance of meetings, but hearing those objections to it, I can see that there is real concerns around 5 councillors, so I think that's an important area that still needs to be considered during this process. I also think that some of the issues that were raised during these meetings highlight a lack of knowledge in the local government area. So we're talking about culling one councillor and raising allowances for the others, and we had councillors in the meeting that didn't know what you're supposed to do with the superannuation, that didn't know they were supposed to pay tax on council allowances. So if local government are looking at moving into this area of reforming what the council allowances are and how much we get and what they're trying to attract, as I said in the morning today, in the meeting today, I can see where you're going to attract candidates for large cities that are going to make this a political career because it becomes a wage, but the rural communities are still going to have only the people that can afford to do it. So I don't see it's going to make a level playing field for the councils, particularly between ourselves in Burnie, the difference in the allowances, and the councils are still going to have the same attendance of meetings. So we're not looking at changing the obligations of councillors that are going to have $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 wages, and that the rural councillors, like all of us here, many of us have got other jobs that are still going to be doing that same work, but for far less. So I don't believe it's addressing the inequities. I don't believe it's attracting the candidates across the board that they're going to look for, because you'll only have the political candidates in the cities, and our areas will suffer. And I was concerned with some of the things that were raised that councillors don't know. So I think there needs to be a lot more education from local government in this area before they start tinkering around the edges, and that's how I see a lot of this that's been put out. Let's just look at local government reform. Our council has been very progressive and said we are open to those discussions of reforming and amalgamating with our neighbours so that we do get better candidates that look after broader areas. This is, to me, tinkering around the edges. And during the conversations, as I say, it actually highlighted how little our current councillors know about their obligations under tax and superannuation. So look at those areas before doing this tinkering. Thank you for the response that we've put in, but Jesus has highlighted some serious issues in local government.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney, discussing those inequities, which you are quite right to bring to the table. Are there any further speakers to this motion?
I'll just close.
Okay, you go. Thank you, Councillor Roberts.
I just want to explain this to the public really quickly, as far as I can see it, that people that have been involved with local government in Tasmania for a long time, you'd be hard pressed to find a single one that believes that there really should be 29 councils in such a small space. You know, I think also you'd find that you know, probably most councillors in Tasmania, or most people living in state, would look at the wages for councillor allowance for rural and regional councils and understand that there could be difficulty, you know, attracting candidates of advanced corporate governance or et cetera experience. But one thing that's probably not factored in here is performance either, which means that it's not equitable. Okay, so as Councillor Courtney has rightfully pointed out, there's councils down the road that literally the councillors will make much more money than us, except that council is much worse performing financially. In fact, our council's now made will be 9 straight years of surplus, whereas that same council's had to be bailed out for $16 million in the last 12 months. And so, yeah, they will cut costs here to only pay others more when the actual performance wouldn't dictate that. In what kind of world does you do a worse performance and get paid more? It just makes no sense. And also, at what level, when I explain this to people in my field that I work in what world do you live in where you get more responsibility and do less work? So I think genuinely the public is really lucky to have a group of individuals here that prioritise their community and the needs of their community and governing their community and delivering corporate governance to their community. Not based on the money, absolutely not one person could be here based on money because we get paid next to nothing. And also it just shows that the point of this is that as much as no one, would probably agree there's 29 needed councils, or as much as people would say, well, they are underpaid and probably something should be done about that. What we are all looking for as members of local government and the members of the Local Government Association of Tasmania is an equitable process where our state government can point to the reasoning behind the decisions that they're trying to make or enforce. Now, other people in this whole process from the beginning of reform, we're given a document, this document's 300 pages, and they said, okay, you've got a week and a half to get back to us and let us know what you think about that. Okay, so we're looking at some of the most critical changes in local government in 33 years, and we've got 10 days to figure it out. So I would like to, until something can be placed in front of us that has a logical, rational explanation as to why that decision is being made. If we're looking at the rural communities and saying, okay, there's no need for a circular head and a Waratah Wynyard council, yet we are literally about 116 kilometre round trip away from each other, and yet Hobart and Glenorchy City Council, there's no question that they're merging, but they are literally 3 kilometres down the road from each other. So it makes absolutely no sense to me, none of this at all. And it's actually when you know what you're reading that you realise it makes no sense. So my theory with Councillor Courtney on this, there is no real justification to take away representation from the rural and regional communities only to prop up councils that are already receiving a lot of funding. And in many ways that would show that this council has been punished for outperforming its own expectations. And I think if anything, they should recognise the job that councils like ours do and maybe think about fixing some of the bigger shows around. And I think we're doing quite a good job here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Okay, are there any further speakers to this particular motion?
Councillor Roberts wrapped up, so they're...
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. I certainly wasn't thinking then. My apologies. Okay, if there are no further comments, then I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.8 Community and Engagement Quarterly Report. The recommendation is that Council notes the quarterly information report for the Community and Engagement Directorate. Could I have a mover for that motion, please? Deputy Mayor Edwards. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Courtney. Deputy Mayor Edwards, did you wish to open any debate about this particular motion?
No, other than it's a huge quarter and they've all been very busy, so it's been well put together for us and the community to read and look at all the hard work.
Okay, any further comments from anyone, please? Councillor Courtney.
Obviously, if you read this report, there's a lot of good that we're doing in this area. We've had a lot of events. I will note one of the highlights has been the Tulip Festival, that it did come off even though it was very muddy. But the Gather Glow event, I've had that many people come back to us and say, can we please do that, every 3 months? And I've had to say, listen, our staff and volunteers, that's asking a lot of them. But, you know, I think that shows the feedback. That event was just fantastic. And, you know, if I respond every now and again, well, you could come into council and ask that we have it every 6 months, as not in January. If anybody comes in and asks for that, I think it was a great event, and I think it's gone over really well. And as with all the other community events it highlighted in the report, it's just something that we're doing really well at. But yeah, the Gather Glow event, I can't believe the feedback we're still getting about that this many months later. Yeah, so well done.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney, for those comments. Yes, and I think that people did enjoy puddling in water and mud because they hadn't done it since they were children. So it was a very enjoyable day. Are there any further comments?
Yeah, I got, if I
Councillor
want
Ramage.
this garden thing out there near the toilets, through you, Mayor, to the engineer, you might have seen some photos we flicked you a few weeks ago or whenever. Did they get that problem solved where that stuff was running out of the garden bed all over the stained concrete?
Through you, Mayor, look, I've been away for a couple of weeks prior, but I've mentioned it to some. Some people think it was probably occurring before the garden bed was put in place, so we're still just having a bit of a look at it. So,
Yep, thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. If there are no further comments, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.9, digital recording of council meetings policy recommendation that council adopts the reviewed digital recording of councillor meetings policy. Could I have a mover for that motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Courtney, could I have a seconder? Councillor Rule? Councillor Courtney, did you wish to?
I think it was actually Councillor Johnson that moved the motion.
Okay, so could you please correct that? Councillor Johnson moved the motion. Who was seconder, please?
Well, technically it was Councillor Courtney because they both put their hand up at the same
Councillor
time.
Courtney? Councillor Johnson, would you like to?
A short one, just as per recommendation. Thank you. If they're adopted.
Okay. Okay, all good. Councillor Courtney?
Just a question. So I think it's great that we're actually going to be recording closed meetings now. I think it's good that local government have actually realised that this is a good thing to do because there's some fairly important conversations that go on in those closed meetings. So if we're going to record the open ones, we should certainly record the closed ones. I would just wonder if I could ask, and this is not to be answered tonight, if you could come back to me. Under the open meetings, we don't care whether this ever becomes public because it's a public meeting. What is the archive legislative release of the recording around the closed meetings? Is that, if we could just clarify, like, does it happen automatically after 50 years or does it have to go through a right to information public interest process?
Yeah,
Like, you could just come back to me about what the
I'll
archive...
confirm, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was 12 months to be stored electronically because then we've got the minutes that will be the truth of the meeting, but I'll come back and make sure of
Yeah,
that.
if you could, thanks.
Okay, thank you for that. Any further comments, questions? Anyone wish to speak against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Carried unanimously. 9.10, award of contract 843, Inglis River Walking Track Upgrade Project 5. The recommendation is that council awards contract number 843, Project 5, Golf Links Road on the Inglis River Walking Track Upgrade to AJR Construct Proprietary Limited. Could I have a mover for that motion?
So moved.
Councillor Courtney moved. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Roberts. Councillor Courtney, do you wish to open the debate?
Oh no, I think this is fantastic works, but we've all known this was coming, and the awarding to AJR, we've used them quite a number of times, and my understanding is we've always had good results, so very happy with who's been awarded the contract.
Thank you, Councillor Courtney. Are there any further speakers to this?
I did touch on it before. I just mentioned the Fossil Bluff and Surrounding Trails plan, and this is I'll say this in government, that what I've noticed in many, many years is that what is written on paper and what the plans are and what the strategies are and what the outcomes are quite often two completely separate things. But what I'll say is that every single thing that we have discussed in the several years nearly now that I have been on council has been delivered. And they've not been delivered one after the other, they have been delivered concurrently. And so even our capital spend from 25 to 30 or 29 is $72 million. And so to have a council that can run for nearly a decade in the surplus and run at a profit, it can expand its staff, it can expand its level of professionalism, it can bring in respected professionals nationwide, such as Sally and Alan here, and it can deliver $40,000 worth of community assistance grants, and it can do all of these things, run at a profit, deliver every result. We're always undermanned, we're always outgunned, we're underfunded, and yet we deliver every time. And so I know that, it seems like a given, but to be honest, this is really, really rare. It's like lightning in a bottle type stuff. If you looked at every single metric, we meet that criteria and we succeed in it. And so to have the progress that we've had in Somerset, to have the progress in the projects we've had in Waratah, to have these projects in Wynyard, and to think in the middle of it, hey, we really do need to do the Fossil Bluff and Surrounded Trails plan and actually get Gulf Links English River Path done. If people have walked those tracks will notice that they are degrading and they are eroding, and just the preservation of the beauty and the essence of what this place is all about. I can't thank our staff enough. They make us councillors look really good with the work they do, and I'm very incredibly thankful to get this result, and it's the staff that get the result. I won't even pick up a shovel. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Any further speakers to this motion or against this motion? If not, I will put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.11, Capital Works Budget Amendments. The recommendation before you, there are 4 parts to this recommendation. The Council number 1 adopts the proposed Capital Works Budget Amendments, carry forwards, totalling $424,695 as presented. Part 2 adopts the proposed capital budget amendments totalling to $1,862,558 as presented. Item 3 adopts the revised estimated financial statements for the year ended 30th of June 2026, replacing the statements adopted in the annual plan and budget estimates on the 23rd of June 2025. And Item 4 adopts the revised 2025-2026 fees and charges schedule. Could I have a mover for this motion, please? Councillor Roberts. Seconder, please, for this motion.
Yep, second.
Councillor Courtney. Councillor Roberts, do you wish to open this debate?
Yeah, look, I just, again, the balance of actually running a viable council and actually delivering all the capital works and delivering these building projects. If people went to the hardware store and seen the price of one bag of concrete, they might start to comprehend how much it costs to even build a footpath. I think $150,000 a square metre or something like that, is it? In the vicinity of, so $150,000 for a metre of footpath, and yet we're going to deliver $72 million worth of projects. One thing people might have noticed in the numbers a little bit over these last few years is that quite often in the past, financially, council was very speculative about the amounts it would spend and the totals that would go into the capital works budget, and there'd be quite a lot of carry forward from the year before, etc. I've noticed over the nearly going into our 4th year next year that the numbers are becoming more and more reflective of what is actually spent, what is actually there, and as an organisation, our financials are publicly available, and the level of accuracy and transparency in them is actually quite incredible. And it might seem at times that we've spent less, or we've done less, or we've done anything, but what's happened is in the past, the jobs, we put out a list that's massive, and we say this is what we're going to do, but whether it's realistic that we can deliver that or not, different question. So it's just now that these are a lot more reflective, and to see the carry forwards, $424,000, you know, so it shows that of $18 million the council spent last year in the projects we said we'd complete, that 424,000 of them weren't actually completed, and we've brought it forward to the next, put it back to the next year. So I want to credit our financial services, all of them, not just manager Mitchell Smith, but also all the members that no one sees that are doing great work behind the scenes. And it's a tough gig, numbers, and you're doing a great job. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers to this motion? Councillor Courtney?
I'd say to just have a look at that if you're in the member of the public, have a look at that and see what we're delivering, and know that this is not a tick and flick exercise for anybody on this council. That the councillors that are sitting around this table are so informed by our asset management and our financial management, and I will thank you tonight, our corporate management. You don't just give it to us and expect us to give it a tick and flick. You explain every detail, every line item, and answer every question. And you're a credit to the council and to the community, because we can only make these good governance decisions that has kept us in the black for 7-8 years because of the information you give us for asset management, risk management, financial management. It's the information that you give us that helps us to make good decisions. So if the public could have a look at what we're doing and how we're staying afloat while we're doing it, thank you very much to the staff here for the information you give us for us to be able to make good decisions, to be able to deliver these projects.
Thank you for those accolades, Councillor Courtney. Are there any further? Councillor
Just a
Hyland?
question, if I may.
Yes?
I may have missed it through you to the engineer, but the budgeted figure of $500,000 for the road verges, is that got to be carried forward? Because I know the job's been put back, we've done part. But yeah, is that
Through you, Mayor,
maybe
I
understanding?
think going back to the June report, that might have been carried at that point in time.
Oh,
You're
right,
talking
might have been
the
done.
road shoulder
Yep,
upgrade?
road
Yeah.
shoulder upgrades, yep.
Certainly continue to work Myla Road and some other areas into the year. Yeah.
Thanks for that. Yep.
Thank you for that response. Are there any further comments, questions? Yes, Councillor.
If I may, I spoke to our engineer last week regarding some of these items, and we explained to each other very well, but there's one I picked up. I didn't pick it up to yesterday. Is note 12. 33,100 for a new floor replacement in the cafe area at the watershed. And I, what the? Let's stop. What would that be for?
Yeah, through you, Mayor. Look, some of the flooring, I believe, has started to lift off concrete, so I believe that's the intent there, to replace that. It's some of the concrete finish underneath tends to be part of the problem as well, is what I'm advised of, so that's a repair to that.
That floor wouldn't have been used very much, if anything, would it?
Only by the first tenant and events. Yeah.
Right, look. I understand that it's a few years old now, the building. But we got to get a warranty with these sort of things for a period of time. We've already replaced the section of floor out there where they keep their boats and that sort of thing. We just can't afford as a council to keep doing this. Who knows what's going to happen down Boat Harbour? Oh, it frustrates me, it does, to be quite honest. But I guess there's nothing we can do about it. Can we challenge the builders or the flooring people?
Look, through you, Mayor, I believe that's been explored. A typical construction contract has a 12-month defect liability period, and from all the information I have, it wasn't a defect during that period of time, and it's emerged since, unfortunately. So.
Thank you for that.
It's frustrating, isn't it?
Thank you. Are there any further comments on this Capital Works Budget Amendment 2025-26? You've spoken. You
Close
want
the
to
debate.
close the debate for us? Okay.
So, just quick, sorry.
I'm just going to ask, just for clarification, probably from Mr Smith around that, what's the biggest thing that means that these projects get moved forward or that come up now, like with 20 or more notes? So what's the biggest thing you have to grapple with when you're trying to budget for these things and get them done in timeframes? Is there some underlying thing that keeps cropping up, or is it just a mixture of things or life, or?
Yeah, through your mayor, it can be a range of things. It can be the carry forwards could be due to a number of things. It can be approvals holding up projects in some instances, availability of contractors, resourcing internally of staff. So there's a wide range of reasons why that can happen. We certainly council and the council staff and management have tried to work on reducing the number of carry forwards that we have over a number of years, and certainly also trying to, when we're adopting the budget each year, trying to break the projects down, if possible, into stages, especially for your bigger projects, say like Boat Harbour Beach. We'd stage that over a number of years because it's not going to be fully delivered in 1 year. So we've certainly done some work in that space, but I think it's going to be one of those instances where you're never going to be able to completely avoid them, but they're usually, in most instances, due to a range of reasons outside our control, for those reasons I sort of outlined. So.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you for that response. If you would like to sum up, please.
Just in regards to this couple of things, especially with regards to what Councillor Bramage said, is correct that this council, with the right intention, spends the ratepayers' money and state government money and federal government money, and pretty much whoever give us money will spend it with the right intention. But as probably what you'll notice as time goes on, Councillor Bramage, is the quality of a lot of the work does actually lower. You know, we've seen the bridge that was a bit wavy, and we've had a few things where the next year, a few years later, up for $30,000 to fix something. So I completely agree with that, Councillor Bramage. Now, one thing that people probably aren't aware is that the tenders for certain jobs go on, I believe it's Tenderlink, is it? Yep, so the tenders for the local government jobs actually go on Tenderlink online. So if any local tradespeople, any local operators, heavy machinery operators, concreters, just anyone in these fields at all, if they're interested in applying for any of these contracts, then check out Tenderlink online, because they will come up on there for the local government, for different councils and local government and ours as well. I truly believe that's the problem, Councillor Bramage. We've got some of the best tradesmen on earth right here. And what we have to do is contract outside sources to come in and do these jobs. And the quality is just not the same as some of the people that we have around here. So I think one of the biggest things we can do to rectify that is start having our own local businesses apply for some of these tenders. And so I'd love to see that in my time here at council. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Councillor Roberts has summed up. No more comments. Okay, I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.12, financial report for the period ended 30th of September 2025. The recommendation is that council notes the financial report for the period ended 30th of September 2025. Could I have a mover for that motion, please? Councillor Courtney, can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Roberts. Councillor Courtney, would you like to speak to this motion, please?
No debate, just noting the report.
Thank you. Are there any further speakers to this report? If there are no further speakers, I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.13, the Senior Management Report. The recommendation is that council notes the Senior Management Report. Councillor Roberts has moved. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Johnson. Councillor Roberts, do you wish to speak to this motion?
Pretty much say the same thing I always say, and then I'll add something at the end. The first thing is I just encourage the public, anyone, to read these reports, whether it's the community report or the senior management report. The information in there is absolutely quite comprehensive. There's photos, there's graphs, there's narratives. There's pretty much every type of evidence of the work that happens. And in regards to Councillor Raw's question about carrying forward, the projects in these reports actually have a progress update of how much percentage that we do have each project complete. So if we do want to see what projects will be carried forward to next year, we've only got to look in the last quarter and see which projects haven't been completed from the year before. Those will be the ones that make it into the actual budget.
But it's not just projects I was asking. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Thank you.
And I understand that.
Are you finished speaking,
Yeah, I
Councillor?
was just saying that the thing at the end I'm saying is read them. I encourage everyone to read them. And the second part is in regards to that question for anyone in the public that does wonder that answer of what percentage is done of those projects, etc., that will tell us. Thank you.
Councillor Raw, did you wish to make a comment?
No, I was just pointing out that it wasn't just I read everything that comes across my table.
Excuse me, no comment.
And it wasn't just those things that I was asking
Thank you.
Mr. Smith about.
Okay, are there any further comments, please? If not, I'll put the motion. All those.
Yep.
So, yeah, I can close the motion, yeah.
Yep.
So in regards to that, it's not, what I was saying is for anyone that wants to know the answer to, say, what projects will happen in the year that we've said they will, or which projects will be pushed back in relation to even that question of the carrying forwards in relation to the financial side of things and the budget itself, those projects will be in the senior management report. It will tell us exactly what percentage of the project is finished, down to like 32.4% of the project or 67.8 or whatever. It will tell us right down to the minute number just how much we've progressed through those in the year. So for anyone at home that wants to see what we have delivered or what we have not delivered, if they check the last quarterly report for the senior management of the year, which will be in this agenda, they will see which projects we have completed and which projects we have not. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. I will now close the debate and put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. Item 10. Recommendation before you, councillors, is that the council resolves by an absolute majority that the matters listed below be considered in closed meeting. Could I have a mover for that, please? Deputy Mayor Edwards. Councillor Johnson seconded. Put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Carried unanimously.
Does the report, have we missed that? You just did it? Right, great.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you were saying,
No,
Councillor Raw.
Just a clarification. I thought we'd missed something, but we haven't.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Item 11, recommendation that the council resolves by an absolute majority to go into the closed meeting to consider the following matters at 7:37. Could I have a mover for that motion, please? Councillor Roberts. Deputy Mayor Edwards. I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. We're closing this part of the motion, this part of the meeting.